Hi, I'm Julie. Welcome back to the Hobby Maker tutorial channel. Today I'm going to teach you how to make an accordion fold card. So today we're going to create an accordion fold card. I'm going to create it on the interior of the card, but there is also a way that you can do it on the exterior also. So I'm going to bring in my scoring board. I've got a 6-inch square card blank, and then I've got some coordinating card and paper that we're going to use to decorate. So I'm going to show you how to do this. So because your accordion is going to be on the inside, we want to decorate the inner part of our card. So first thing I'm going to do is create myself some mats and layers for each side. So I've already done 2 of those. So I've done my white cardstock at, let me just double check, 4 1/4, and then I've done a piece of red at 4 1/2. And then what I'm going to do is bring in some of this patterned dotty cardstock, and I'm going to cut this at 5 1/4, I think, because I want to have a little bit more of a border. So if I go to 5 1/4 and then 5 1/4, and then you'll see those there will just sit. So we'll glue those down because we can do that at this point. And pop this down again. Just pop it down so you've got an even border all the way around. Just press that down, and then first thing I'm going to do is stick my white to my red mat. So again, just place that down, making sure you've got an even border all the way around. And again, you can sort of manoeuvre it a little bit if you need to, slightly, but that looks okay to me. Then I'm going to pop some glue onto the back of this, stick that down, leaving myself, like I say, a slightly larger border this time, just because I think if you're using a patterned paper, it's nice to be able to see some of the design. But then just popping that extra little bit of red behind the white just sort of like makes it lift a little bit more, gives it a little bit more interest. So I'm going to repeat exactly the same thing on the opposite side, on the inside of the card. So again, I'm going to pop that down, and at this point you can kind of use the piece that you've already stuck down as a guide to sort of like line yourself up against. So I think that looks okay. Again, I'm just going to pop this white onto the red. Just leaving myself that small border just to manoeuvre. That's it. And I'm going to pop that one down in place. Again, you can kind of use them as a guide just to position it in place. And make sure you're happy with where that's going. I can see there I've got a little bit that's just lifted, so I'm just going to pop myself an extra bit of glue down there, just so I know that that's stuck down firmly. So then what we're going to do, so that's sort of like created the inside. So now we're going to create our band of accordion fold, which is where we're going to be able to attach our embellishments to. So I'm going to go with sort of a contrasting piece of cardstock. I like these 2 colours together, the red and this sort of duck eggy blue. I always think work nicely together. So first thing I need to do is cut myself a strip that's going to go across the whole of the card. So I know that this is a 6-inch 6" by 6" card, so this is 12 inches. So the first thing I need to do is cut myself a strip that is 12 inches. So I'm going to cut it widthwise at about 1.5, I think, yeah. Yes, 1.5 inches I'm going to go with by 12 inches. So that gives me sort of like a sturdy band. And then I'm going to then score this. So the first thing I'm going to do is score. I'm going to flip it over and work on reverse. So the first thing I'm going to do is score it at 6 inches. So I know then I've got my middle section in place, so I can fold that. So then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to come in 3 inches, so creating a score line in half again, and then I'm just going to rotate it and I'm going to come in 3 inches from that side as well. So then what I'm going to do then is fold this so it gives me that accordion fold. So your band will be like that. So then the next thing we want to do is we're going to create 4 focal points on this, where we're going to pop our your embellishments, your toppers, whatever you're wanting to pop onto that. So I'm going to cut myself 4 squares of the blue, and I'm going to cut myself 4 squares of white. Now I want them to be, obviously I want them to sit inside of that, so I'm going to do them, I think, let me just have a look, I think I'll do them at 2 inch square. Yeah, so I'm going to cut that down 2 inches. So I want to create 4 of these, one for each part of the accordion. That's 1. What I'm going to do then is just cut some white cardstock to create a layer on top that will go on top of the blue. So as I did those ones at 2 inch square, I'm going to do this one at 1 3/4 inch square. And that will just give me a slight border then of the blue. And you can use your scrap pieces up to do this if you've got any little bits that you've cut off of your cardstock. Keep them to one side because they're always come in handy for doing things like this. My last one. There we go. So there you'll see I've got 4 of the blue, 4 of the white. So I'm just going to move my trimmer out of the way now. And then I'm just going to glue these down. So stick those down in place. Like I say, you'll see then, just leave yourself that little bit of blue. And just repeat that on all 4 of these. And the next thing I want to do is I've then die cut myself 4 little hearts in the red cardstock, and then I'm going to bring my card back in, and what we want to do is pop ourselves some adhesive onto each end of the accordion fold that we created. So I'm just going to pop myself, you could use glue, you could use some red liner tape for this because that has a bit more strength in it than some of the standard double-sided tape, so you know it's not going to budge once you've stuck it down. So I'm just going to secure that end down there, and then I'm going to bring this across and I'm going to keep my hand on that and then just bring it across and pop that end down too. And if you are using a glue, just hold it for a second just so it secures in place. Make sure you're sort of straight. You'll know you're straight because you can line it up to the edges of your card. And then as I shut it then, it's going to create that accordion fold. The next thing I want to do, I'm just going to slide that down slightly, just a bit more central. Right, so then the next thing I'm going to do then is attach my square panels onto that accordion fold centre, just in the centre of each of those four folds. So you can, at this point, you could stick them slightly raised if you wanted to. I'm going to pop them flat and then I'm going to pop a little foam pad underneath my heart. So I know that I only need my glue or tape just across the centre of those squares. Just so you know then that you're not going to be sort of attaching them to the back of the card. Just press that down and repeat that process 4 times. Again, just press that down. And line it, you can use sort of like the previous one to line up the next one so you know sort of they're all going to sit at the same height. So just use that as a guide. I mean, if you wanted to, you could go rogue and have one that way, one that way, one that way. You could sort of, you know, make them a little bit more abstract if you prefer. I kind of like mine a bit more uniform, but personal preference. I'm just going to stick this last one down. Pop that into place. And there you see you've got your 4 panels stuck in place. So we'll do that. So then the next thing, this now is a base then that you can be adding whichever toppers or embellishments or die cuts you want. You could pop flowers on here, butterflies, whatever designs you want. I've got 4 hearts, so I'm just going to bring in some foam pads and then I'm just going to stick them to the back. I'm just going to trim that down slightly. Great thing about foam pads is you can sort of trim them down if you don't need to use as big a piece as you've got. So I'm just going to pop that down. And I think with my hearts, I am going to put them a bit more abstract. You could pop them in the centre, but I think I'm going to put them all at different positions so they look a bit like they're tumbling. I'll have one there. I'll pop one bottom and have them going off in different directions. This would also work if you were doing butterflies, because you could have them sort of flying off in different directions. This one I think I'll put more central, and this one I'm going to put down that way. So there we have our accordion fold decorated. So what I'm going to do now is shut it up, because I do want to put a little bit of decoration on the front of it, but obviously the main focal point of this is obviously when it's stood up, you're going to get your fold from the inside when it's stood up on someone's sideboard or fireplace. So I'm just going to bring in some of my leftovers from what I've already used to decorate the inside. So I've got a panel of red, which I think I'm going to, I think that one is going to fit perfectly there. So then I'll bring in a band of my dotty that I've got left, so that will just sit on the top of that. So I'm going to stick those down first, and then I might bring in a piece of my blue. Yes, I think I will. So I'm just going to stick these down into the centre. Right, so I'm going to pop this red panel that was just an offcut into the middle of the front of my card blank. So making sure flush. And then, like I say, I trimmed down a piece of the dotty that I had left. So I'm just going to pop that down next. Making sure, again, I can manoeuvre that into place. Just press down when I'm happy with the position. And then I've got a little panel of the blue colour that I use, so I think, again, I'm going to use that to decorate. So I'm going to pop that into the middle. Give myself a panel, and then I'm going to bring in some more of my hearts. I think I might go for maybe 3 this time. Might do 3 hearts across the centre. I'm just going to bring those in, and again I'm going to pop those flat this time. I think you could raise them up if you wanted to. When I'm sticking things down, this is just a top tip. So if ever I'm sticking something, like 3 of something down onto a panel like this, I always start with the middle one. Because unless you want to get a ruler out and measure everything precisely, which sometimes you don't want to when you're just making, I always find if you pop your centre one in first, you can then work out roughly where you need to put the 2 that are going to go on either side of it, so that you've got an even position. So if I just show you, that's sort of more or less central then. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm just going to add some wording onto it. Again, you could bring in some of your ribbons or some twine, some gems if you wanted to. I've got some of these. These are our thicker stickers that you'll find on the Hobby Maker website. These are great for adding dimension and sort of like personalising something if you want to. So there's you'll see some of mine are already missing because I use these quite a lot. But I think I'm just going to sort of do the word love. But again, if you were sending this maybe to somebody for an anniversary or you know, Valentine, you could maybe personalise it by putting their name on the front. So I'm going to start, I think I'm going to go off centre and just do this at the top. So I'm just going to pop the owl down first, and then I'm going to bring in the O. Just got to find a V. And then, last but not least, my E. You can just pop that in. And then, actually, let me just see, I could, I'm just making sure I've got the right letters. You could go then, actually, I'm just thinking I might go at the bottom and do love you. Again, this is entirely up to you how you decorate the front of it, but I think actually another top tip I'll show you, if I've got sort of like a word like this that's at the top, because you're going to come from, you want it to sort of be central this way, start by spelling your word backwards, and then you'll know you've got enough room. Because if you start here and then you might find that you haven't got enough room when you get to the end. So if I just show you, if you start backwards, so if you know, I know I'm going to be doing love you, so if I put my U in first, I know then that when I put my O and my, it's going to fit. I hope that made sense. It's just a little top tip of, you know, making sure that you've got room for the elements that you want to add on. So I'm just going to do my O, and then I'm going to bring in my Y. And sometimes it helps to have it on a pokey tool or a pickup tool, whatever you've got to hand, because you can sort of then hover where you know you're gonna want to go, and then press down and just use it to sort of help you get things in place. So if I just move those out of the way, turn that around. So You'll see my front decorated up. And then if I open it out now, you've got your accordion fold on the inside. And that's how quick and easy it is to make an accordion fold card. Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and join me next time for some more fun folded cards.